Most people think time travel is pure science fiction. But what if I told you it's a real thing you can actually see with your own eyes? And it happens every single day, right in the middle of the Bering Strait. Okay, let's get into this. So check this out. What we're looking at here are two small rocky islands. The one in front is Little Diomede, and it's part of Alaska. Now look across that little stretch of water, just about 2.5 miles away. That's Big Diomede, and it belongs to Russia. Here's the mind-blowing part. When you stand on that shore in the US, you are literally, and I mean literally, looking at tomorrow. So the big question is, how on earth is that possible? How can two little rocks, close enough that you could swim between them, be an entire day apart? It just doesn't seem to make sense. Well, the answer isn't some kind of magic or a glitch in the Matrix. It's actually a really fascinating mix of geography, a little bit of history, and a totally imaginary line that we humans decided to draw on a map. And this is the key to the whole puzzle, the international date line. It's this human-made boundary that kind of zigzags its way across the Pacific Ocean. See, because our planet spins from west to east, time sort of starts at this line. And as fate would have it, that line runs right through the tiny gap between the two Diomede islands. So because Russia is just to the west of the line, it gets the new day first. And the US, to the east, is one of the very last places to see it. This creates a staggering, and I mean staggering 21-hour time difference. Not 1 hour, not two, almost a complete day separating two islands you can see from your doorstep. Let's just put that into perspective for a second. Let's say it's noon on a Tuesday on Little Diomede. You're thinking about lunch. Well, over on Big Diomede, it's already 9 a.m. on Wednesday. They're already living in your future, having their morning coffee. It's wild. And this whole situation goes all the way back to 1867. When the United States bought Alaska from Russia, the dealmakers had to draw a new border. And they drew it right down the middle of the strait, slicing between these two tiny islands and, without really thinking about it, separating them not just by country, but by time itself. But this isn't just some fun geographical fact. During the 20th century, this strange border took on a much more serious role. It became one of the most tense frontiers on the entire planet. In fact, the Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev even gave it a name, the Ice Curtain. It was the Arctic version of the Iron Curtain in Europe, this really stark symbol of the divide between the US and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. For centuries, these islands were home to one community, the Inupiat people, who traveled back and forth freely. But then, in 1948, the Cold War ripped that community apart. The Soviets moved their entire population off Big Diomede and turned it into a military base. For decades, families were completely cut off from one another, until 1987, when an American swimmer, Lynn Cox, actually swam across that freezing water from today into tomorrow as this incredible gesture of peace. And don't think this is all ancient history. That tension is still there. Big Diomede is an active Russian military base. Crossing that 2.5-mile gap is totally illegal. The folks on Little Diomede say that if their boats get too close, they get warning shots fired at them. And yeah, in the winter, a solid ice bridge actually forms between the islands. But if you tried to walk from Tuesday to Wednesday, you'd probably be arrested. So what is it actually like to live your life on the edge of time, with tomorrow literally in your backyard? Let's take a look at life on the American side, on Yesterday Island. This right here is the town of Diomede. It's the only settlement on the island, home to about 100 people, almost all of whom are Inupiat. I mean, their ancestors have lived right here for thousands of years, perched on this steep, rocky slope, looking out across the water at Russia and at the future. And the locals have this saying that just perfectly captures the surreal, everyday reality of their lives. When hunters go out chasing walrus, they often cross the international date line. So they say, we go hunting today, we kill it tomorrow, and we butcher and eat it yesterday. For them, it's just a normal part of life. Life here is completely tied to the rhythms of the sea and the ice. The economy is pretty much all based on subsistence hunting, going after walrus, seals, and polar bears, fishing, and gathering eggs from the cliffs. It's a way of life that has sustained their people for millennia. But man, living here comes with some unbelievable challenges. A supply barge shows up just once a year.
The only way in or out is by helicopter if the weather cooperates, or on a runway they have to carve into the sea ice every winter. And now climate change is threatening that very ice they depend on. But maybe the toughest challenge is the human one. Basically, every family on the island has relatives on the Russian side, relatives who were separated from them by that invisible line in the water.
So, the Diomede Islands, they're so much more than just a cool fact. They're this real-world, living proof that time isn't this constant, universal thing that just ticks forward for everyone at the same pace. No, it's a coordinate. It's a location on a map, just like your GPS coordinates. Two people can be standing just miles apart, under the exact same sun, but be living in completely different moments in time.
And that kind of leaves us with one last fascinating question to think about. If you were one of those 100 people on Little Diomede and you woke up every morning and looked out your window, would you really see that island across the water as the future? Or after a while, would it just become another place? A place where relatives you can never visit are having breakfast tomorrow while you're having it today.